Hey, it's Matt Halladay. I'm a local real estate agent in Calgary, Alberta, and I want to go through the home buying process. I often get a lot of buyers requesting, what's the process? How much is it going to cost? So I'm going to do a high-level overview of what that all looks like today. The timeline of purchasing a home can vary from 2 weeks to 6 months. It really just depends on the buyer and the seller, what they negotiate. Most often it's somewhere in between, around the 45 to 60 day period. Typically sellers are also purchasing a home somewhere else, so they kind of have to work with those dates in tandem, and that often means that the seller has more say about the um, closing date than the buyers, but that's not to say it's not negotiable. One of the key things I let my clients know is to make sure that the funds are available when they start looking for a property, because within a couple of weeks, only a few days, you could have all of the expenses of purchasing a property due, and if you don't have those funds available, you can't close on the property. If a property is going to close within 2 weeks, those funds need to be available right away. So that means the cost of doing conditions, your deposit, the closing costs of your lawyer, and the rest of your down payment, including that deposit. So those funds should be available so that you can make a quick decision if you find the place that's right for you. Let's say an offer gets accepted. You most likely have a conditional sale. That means that you have some protection in that contract. For example, you'd have conditions to make sure you secure financing, that you have a property inspection and you approve of that property inspection. Now, to mention about property inspections, they must be inspected by a licensed property inspector. A condominium document review we often see in condos, where they'll review the financials, the condo documents, the rules, the bylaws, what is the reserve fund to look like. These are all things I'll go through in later videos, but it's important to know that a condo document review is a great condition for buyers purchasing condos. We've seen pet approval conditions to make sure that dogs and cats get approved. Many people have those animals today, so it's important that they get approved where you're purchasing. The condition period is typically 2 weeks. That's what most buyers and sellers negotiate on, but it can be longer or shorter depending on the conditions. They can be extended if needed, but I would be prepared for a 2 week period where you need to crunch and make sure you get your inspections, get your financing approved, get your documents reviewed, maybe get other conditions that you've added to the property or to the purchase. Those are really important. It's important to get them done right away so that you at least have a few days afterwards to deliberate and decide on if you're planning to move forward with the purchase or not. Once you've gone through the conditions and you're satisfied with them, it comes down to waiving the conditions so that you have a firm sale. A firm sale means that you must close on the property, it's considered sold to you, and you officially take possession and own the property on the possession date. Once you have a firm sale, the next step is to get in touch with a lawyer and start the closing process. Once you've reached out to a lawyer and started that closing process, it's important to connect all the services like utilities, your internet, maybe a phone, anything that you might need to the house the day you move in, so that when you take over the property, everything's in place and you're prepared to live. So to sum up the video, we'll go through the stages quickly. So we have conditional sale, day one. The deposit's due within 3 days. So deposit in 3 days. Your condition period is likely up to 2 weeks. So you have 2 weeks to waive your conditions and make sure the property is right for you. And then your closing period, which you want to give the lawyers at least a week after conditions to close your property appropriately. Make sure you have the funds available, and the process is very simple. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and I appreciate it. Thanks.